Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Thank you so much. I know Dave Buck has been in communication with you. Unfortunately, he could not be here today. So I would ask you, Pastor Derek, if you would not mind introducing yourself, and then we are very interested in hearing what you have to say to us.
I am pleased to be here. As you know, Dave Buck is a board member representing Emmanuel. He does such a fantastic job, and he's heavily involved in the community in various different aspects. And so his invitation was, I thought it an honor to receive, and I am so glad to be here among you. I am not a stranger to the Episcopal Church. I'm from the Bahamas, and the Anglican Church is the church of choice primarily. And so I was schooled in Anglican schools in John's College, Anglican school, and I went to Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. My grandmother was Anglican, and so that's how we got involved in Anglican Church. My grandfather, however, was Baptist, and so that's where we went to Sunday school. And actually, that's where, at the age of 10, I found myself at the altar, surrendering my life to Christ. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I felt this calling, this beckoning, this invitation strongly. I couldn't tell you what the preacher preached about or what the choir sang, but I found myself there at the altar. And when I was getting back to my feet, I knew I was going to be a pastor, preacher, clergy, whatever. Didn't have a clue what that meant, but I knew that God was going to use me. I would say this, that makes me a hybrid. So Anglican, Baptist. I joined the Methodist Church because every time you went, they had cake and ice cream. And so that was my, the way I got into the Methodist Church. I was invited to go to AME Church. And yes, every time you went, before you left, they fed you, and plus girls were there. So that sealed it for me. And so that's where I end up getting ordained and serving. So I've pastored since 1992 in the AME Church, pastored in Florida, pastored in Illinois, pastored in Iowa, and I've since superannuated, that's another term for retirement, I guess, from the AME Church. And I planted a non-denominational church for a while, and so I did some of that. And now I'm with the United Methodist Church. So I've been busy doing ministry of some type. I serve as a chaplain at St. Mary's, SSM St. Mary's, there on Clayton Road. I've been doing chaplaincy since 2011. I've done hospice. Now I serve as a hospital chaplain. And so I've found the joys and the pain and suffering that comes with that type of ministry, and how people can be so appreciative that a stranger who can come into their life at their most vulnerable and just be a presence for the Holy Spirit. I find that most satisfying and rewarding. And so I'm here at Webster-Rock Hill Ministry as another way to serve. As you know, it doesn't get any more Jesus than this. I was hungry and you fed me. That's the most simple of factor that I think a Christian can do, the practical way that we can serve. And so here at Webster-Rock Hill Ministry, we've had wonderful partners like Emmanuel and other churches that have sponsored and really give birth to this ministry. And I find myself in the great task of carrying on the work, extending the work to see if we can help more people. And for such a time as this, the ministry is needed more than ever before. And this great pandemic, Webster-Rock Hill Ministry has been here serving families. Some families coming to the ministry for the first time. Many families, had it not been for Webster-Rock Hill Ministry, would have not had another day, would have not had a meal, would not have had the means to make it this far. And so we've done well in keeping the doors open and finding creative ways to serve in spite of the pandemic. One thing in taking on this directorship, we've made some changes, and I'll tell you some of those changes. One, we no longer refer to people who come to us for help as clients. We just see them as neighbors, because clients has this disconnect that is us against y'all, or somehow we have life figured out and you do not. But when we look at it, we're all neighbors. There but the grace of God go you or I. One bit of sickness here or there, a layoff here or there, puts us in the same categories with some other people. And so we don't see people as clients anymore. We just see them as neighbors who need neighbors to help them get through rough times. The other thing that we're doing is we're trying to streamline the ministry so that everything lines up with the vision and purpose of the ministry. So we're going through every bit of the ministry, radio station included, to make sure it all lines up to why we were chartered to do this work, and how every resource that is given us goes back to that work. And so if I can start with the radio station, I would say that we're bringing on more programmings that resembles the mission, vision, and purpose of the ministry, including community programming, including inspirational music. And we're trying to invite churches to come on the radio station to start to fill up those airways, to have more broadcast that sounds like ministry. The other thing is we are moving the tutorial program, summer camp program, out of the building, and we're looking for a building space in the community somewhere to host tutorial program and summer camps. And I'll tell you why we're doing this. It's because, as you can imagine, in preparing food, serving food, boxing food, organizing, it can be pretty chaotic when you add children in the mix and have to find space for tutoring. And so for the safety and for a better way to tutor and educate, we thought it fit to keep doing what we're doing with food distribution, but to have our kids in a safer, more focused place where learning could be more without disruption. I would say it that way. Then the other thing that we're focusing on is the senior housing repair program. We've gotten a grant from the Lutheran Foundation to help seniors stay in their homes a little longer and to help them stay off disrepair. And so seniors can make applications, and we help them by sending out the foreman, we call him, that will go out, assess what is needed, and find credible contractors or people who can do the work to ensure that those seniors can stay in their houses a little longer. So we have simplified our programming. We still do utility assistance. Of course, we'll always do food service. We've tried to narrow down the things that are our core work so that we're not scattered in all that we're doing, but trying to do a more focused work. Some may say that we're lessening it, but I don't think so. I think we're trying to just maximize our resources and do good work, do excellent work, instead of trying to do every work. Yes, there are a lot of needs out there, and Webster-Rock Hill can't meet all of those needs, but we can really be good at what we can do. And like I said, that's food service assistance, that's utility assistance, that's the senior home repair program, and the tutoring program, and the radio station. One thing that I feel proud of that we've been doing since I've been here is that we've been a connector of services. In other words, community, national or private resources are here in the community to help people, but many people don't know how to get to those services. And we can't take on all of those services. But what we can do is we call people on the phone, our neighbors on the phone, and tell them, hey, have you heard of the rental assistance program that the government just sent out to all the counties around the country, including yours, so that if you're behind on your rent, there's a program, here's the number, here's the website. And we've been calling, making those contacts. We've been calling and telling people where they can get their vaccination for the COVID-19. We've been calling to tell people of other programs that educational, legal services, and making sure that we're that conduit or connector of services. And we're not doing all of the services, but there are people far better than we are who are doing those services. So that's some of the things that we're doing here at Webster-Rock Hill Ministries. I've started a radio program telling about what the ministry does on a weekly basis and keeping people updated. One thing we do once a month is we have a food giveaway. In fact, just yesterday, we were able to, in the rain, able to help about 80 people get food. Just a food giveaway. Just drive by, we'll load up your car, and you can be off back to your regular routine. And so we do that once a month, along with all the food that we give out on a regular basis. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We average on a monthly basis giving out about 3 tons of food. And we look at ourselves as a clearinghouse. We're not a place where we collect. We believe that the community needs us to be a clearinghouse of services and goods. And so we've been, as it comes, we've been trying to make sure it gets into the homes of those who need it the most. And so I promise you that we will be accountable, and we will continue to try to connect with churches like Emmanuel to make sure that opportunities like this for me to come before you to give you updates and inform you of what's going on will be more available. I promise you that we will always be servants of the resources you provide for us, and we will not see it as ours, but it is to those who need it the most. And I promise you that we will serve those in this community with dignity, respect, and honor. Since I've been here, there used to be if you got help today, you couldn't come back until another 90 days. We've since changed that because that's nonsensical. I think because if a family's hungry, they can't wait 90 days. They need food now. Now, somebody may say, what if they're trying to fraud us? I think if people are trying to fraud us out of food, God bless them. And I pray for them. But we are trying to make sure, with the greatest amount of humanity, make sure that nobody who's hungry can make the boast that there's an organization out there that refused us and turned us away. So that's some of the highlights. That's that's going on at Webster-Rock Hill Ministries. I thank you again for this opportunity to present and to tell you about what we do. I've fallen in love with this ministry. The volunteers and board members that your church provides is just priceless. And as you know, many send in checks and donations, and some of the names I recognize here on this Zoom, and I thank God. I wouldn't dare pronounce it because I got it wrong before, and I'll get it wrong again. But thank you, Jim, Mary in particular. God bless you. And we are looking forward to the continual work in serving this community. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor Derek. I believe you and David said, Pastor Derek, that you would open up for questions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so now is the time. If you would like to ask a question, please unmute and do so.
Oh, hand up.
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Pastor Bastian, thank you so much for being here. I'm Jim Gretsch and Marianne. So are you doing any tutoring, online tutoring right now?
We are not. When I got here,
Well, that'd be hard to do. Not everyone's going to have a computer. I understand. Yeah.
that's part of the problem. And then when I got here, many of the volunteers who had been tutors, just trying to regroup them and trying to get a focus on computers, resources, who's skilled at that. Not everybody's skilled at virtual teaching, and many of our students didn't have the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So the big focus during the pandemic has been post-COVID. We anticipate September, August, when school reopens, to be ready for a hybrid of virtual and in-person tutoring.
Another question, the Postal Zone limitation. There are needs outside and adjacent to 63119. You're not hard-nosed about that, are you?
And if you can repeat the question for me,
Surely.
sir?
There are people in need right adjacent to the 63119.
Yes.
You don't turn them away, do you?
We do not. Like I said, in the past, that has been, I guess, the procedure.
Yes.
But since I've been here, again, to me, it's nonsensical to turn somebody away if they're out of the zip code. And the reason I say that is because with the resources that the area provides, and then the resources we get from the food bank, there's no penalty to give food to somebody outside the area. The resources that comes in, financial resources that comes in from the area, that's specifically asking that we help those in the 63119 area. We make sure that those finances and resources go to that group. But we can help people with utilities from anywhere in the area through the dollar more. A dollar more is a way for citizens in the community to give a little extra, $1 on their utility bill. And that dollar comes to organizations like Webster-Rock Hill Ministries. And so we help anybody who looks for utility assistance first from those dollar more funds. Now, if somebody's outside the zip code and need utility assistance, and let's say that we've used up all those taxpayers' dollar more funds, then we have to point them to someplace other than us, because the only monies we have left is for the 63119 area to help. So that's how we help people outside the area. We use the Dollar Mall funds. And like I said, the food bank says feed people. We don't care where they're from, feed them, just feed them, make sure they eat. And so we've taken off that time limitations when you can come back. And we've always checked in with the food bank to make sure that that's appropriate.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a food center as well, and we've noticed that the people coming have, it's interesting to hear you say that. So you've taken that away. They used to be only able to go once a month, I think, to Webster-Rock Hill and once a month to us. And so we've seen a drastic change in the number of people coming to our food center. And then there's also been lots of, I want to say maybe at least five or six that I've seen, food drives in the community at various churches. So you're getting more food. So I'm wondering if we ought to have a conversation and talk about that so we know how we're working together.
Yes.
So because we've started going outside Webster Groves to places in the city to help donate because our need was down.
Yes.
Our requests were down. So maybe we should talk.
Absolutely. But I would say this, we noticed last month when the stimulus checks came that the demand was drastically down. And that's okay. That's okay. We imagine that the stimulus helped and people had food, but it was drastically down. So if we don't open it up to other areas, we will just have food sitting on the shelves. So we wanted to make sure that none of people's hard-earned donations and time-sensitive donations would spoil. And so we just said, whosoever will, let them come.
So we do the same thing. We don't turn anybody away. The other thing I was going to tell Jim is that, and it used to be that you lived in 63119, but also people who go to church here. So if lots of members go to churches in Webster and they don't live in 63119, they are all able to go. And Webster University, as you know, comes, and we have a relationship with their student association that they can come get food. So, but I think that we'd like to maybe talk about having a broader assistance with food in and food in gatherings, maybe. Absolutely,
that would be great.
And can you explain a little bit more about what you're looking for the tutoring, as far as what kind of building you're looking for, and if you're in conversation with anybody?
Well, we've been in contact with the school board. We started having conversations with Givens when we found out that Givens will be the feeder school for a lot of kids in this area. The concern was making sure that the kids wouldn't have to cross over a big intersection to get to the tutoring site. So we've been trying to see if Givens would host. There are some challenges with school board expectations in terms of liability, and if they open it up to us, they'll have to open up with everybody. So we have some conversations still trying to figure that out. We've had some other offers that we're trying to vet and make sure that would be a good fit for our organization. So that's the challenge. Is it close enough to our community? Will it be big enough space? Will we have enough independence? I know one of the things the school board says is when they are closed for whatever teachers event or holiday event, that means we should be closed too. And so we have those challenges, but we're trying to figure it out, and we're trying to work through it. So if you know of anything, this is a wonderful way to help us figure it out. Just you don't need permission. Maybe this is God speaking to you right now, saying that you've asked a question and perhaps you have a solution. So God bless you.
This is Margaret Rowe. I know that the tutoring program has been for elementary students over the years, and I was wondering if you were going to open it up to junior high and high school.
Now, the challenge with the high schoolers is high schoolers get to an age where tutoring is no longer cool. So the elementary and middle schoolers, if we can catch those, that would be awesome. And hopefully those middle schoolers will come back and remain a part of the tutorial program. So that's, in my experience with running after school program and tutorial programs, that's been a challenge. High schoolers don't mind coming in and perhaps working with middle schoolers and elementary schoolers. They just have this notion that they're too old to be tutored. So that can change if you're right. If we focus on the elementary and middle schoolers, and when those middle schoolers now get introduced to high school, perhaps they stay with the program.
If we have any ideas for you or questions about what we could do, are you the person we need to be in touch with?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Definitely.
Other questions? Yes, Susan.
I was wondering what kind of place that you're looking for the summer camps. What kind of facility are you looking for?
Well, Eden, we were even in talk with Eden. Eden is in a transition right now where they're considering hybrid education. So they said that a lot of the education now would be online, and so they have available space. And so we've even looked at them for doing a summer program. The only challenge this summer is that we didn't know if people would be vaccinated in time. And so a lot of our partners with the summer camp said they're not doing anything this summer as well. So that's the only reason we haven't been trying to start up with a summer program, just because of the uncertainty of the virus. And so, but we are gearing up for September, August, in kicking off the tutorial program. And then the goal is anytime the school district is out for a week or two, we'll do a camp. Except for maybe spring break. We won't do one for spring break because we find that parents have plans for their kids. But over the Christmas break, anytime there's parent-teacher conferences, stay out for a week or so, we will have a camp, and that will set us up very good for our summer camp program.
Susan, you had a question?
Derek, is there a list of all the opportunities for volunteering?
I can provide one. We're changing our website right now,
Okay.
and we're trying to update our website. On the website, I think there is a volunteer application, and we're trying to update that as well. So I think you'll find that that list is coming. One of the most immediate things that we're doing is we're looking for people who can input files in the computer. So we're moving from a paper file system to an electronic file system. The food bank has provided us some data, some software that we can do that. And the reason is because, as you know, when space is critical and you have paper files piling up, it can cut into your space. But other than that, the security of people having people's information, so we're trying to get everything loaded into the computer. It'll be faster and easier for volunteers. And so we're excited about that. We just loaded the program, and volunteers have started this week in helping us get the information into computers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions?
believe another opportunity might be that Emmanuel can have more than one board member. So if somebody's looking to be take a, is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I think the charter says that every church can have up to 3 board members, but I'm not certain. I can get back to you on that. But yes, there is room for more board members.
Any other questions? Well, Pastor Derek, thank you so much for telling us about the changes and the new direction and renewed vigor of Webster-Rock Hill Ministries. And of course, Emmanuel is very committed to being a partner. And if there's any way we can be of help, please let us know.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for being a wonderful partner, even down through the years to this very moment. And we look forward to working together. As you know, when we help somebody, the next thing we do usually is send them over to Emmanuel. You've been a wonderful partner, and we're trying to make sure that we solidify that partnership even more. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.